All right, guys. So we are live. The thing is, I said I'm going to discuss a few questions from H.C. Verma. If you have already practiced the questions from H.C. Verma textbook, yeah, you might have got some doubts, but I'm not sure if you have practiced it already. There are a few students with me who have practiced it. So I'm just going to discuss the doubts that they got. Okay. I'm just going to start with the question number 10. Look at this question. The angle between the resultant contact force and the normal force exerted by a body on the other is called as angle of friction, right? We've talked about this thing. And show that lambda is be the angle of friction and mu is the coefficient of friction. Lambda is always less. So what it's trying to say is, Aditya, you need to go on mute. So there is friction acting on a body and there is normal force acting on a body and there is the resultant. So we talked about it. If this is the angle or this is the angle, what was the angle which is angle of repose? Do you remember? Angle of not repose, angle of friction, angle of contact force. Do you remember that, guys? If you don't, I'll have to check. Mm, yeah, the vertical angle is called as angle of friction. Okay. So in this case, this is the angle of friction. So Aditya, you have to go on mute, man. If you have any
Why,
doubts,
sir?
unmute yourself. Okay. So this is the angle of friction, right? Now he's calling this angle as lambda, and he says lambda is always less than equal to tan inverse mu. I'll show you how we can prove this thing. Okay. The thing is, let us take a maximum case where the friction is maximum already. So the value of friction is mu n, the normal force is n. So if you want to try to find the angle in between them, like try to draw the triangle like tan theta equals to the opposite side by adjacent side. Opposite side's length is nothing but mu n, right? So mu n by n cancels out. Theta equals to tan inverse mu. Now this is the maximum case where this value is the maximum. But the part is that the thing is the friction is always less than this value, right? It's always less than this is the maximum friction. This is the limiting friction that we can talk about. Since the friction is always less than that value, I'm drawing it again. This is the normal force. This is the maximum friction, but the friction, real friction is always lesser than these values. So what happens to the angle? This is a lambda value, like when you have mu n and n, but the values are always lesser than that. Like if the friction is only this much, this is the angle. You getting my point? So that's what he's trying to say. Like the lambda value cannot be greater than tan inverse mu. When it is when lambda equals to tan inverse mu, it is a limiting friction case. The lambda in any other case, it is less than only. Do you understand it, or do I have to repeat it, guys? Aniket,
Yes,
this
sir.
point.
Can you repeat it once more, sir?
Yeah. I'll just repeat it with different colors. I thought I would make it difficult for you
It
to
became
understand.
messy, sir, with
Yeah, I
only
know.
white.
This is mu n. This is n. This is the maximum case. So the resultant is this. Agree? Now, but the
Yes.
problem is the friction value is not always mu n. Friction value is always less than mu n, right? Like friction value is somewhere around this. What happens to angle of friction now? The resultant of these two things. Look at the angle. This whole angle, this bigger angle, is nothing but tan inverse mu. This is what he's calling as lambda, like angle between friction and normal force. See, lambda is clearly less than the tan inverse mu value. Do you get it now? Yes, do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is what I wanted to say. Since because of that the whole messy thing, you didn't get the answer. It's fine. Uh, Let us look at the next question. Question number 11. Raghav asked this question. So Raghav, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Right. So consider the situation. Calculate the acceleration of 1 kg blocks tension in the string connecting 1 kg
Sir,
blocks and the tension in the string. Yeah.
sir, can I say how, sir, just in which direction would the acceleration would be, sir?
First
Like
of all,
from
the acceleration must be like
left
this.
to right only, no? Sir? Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So
Okay,
because
sir.
of that, friction is like this. If they are sliding, the friction is already mu mg, the maximum value. If they are not sliding, the friction is just balancing the tension.
Yes.
Now you can
Okay.
solve it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that is question number 11, guys. Uh, let us look at these questions. I guess I hope you can easily solve question number 12, 13. 14 is something that, oh no, look at question number 14. Here in this case, like I mentioned, friction coefficient, look at it, it's more than mu 1, more than mu 1. The value of mu is greater than 1 there. Like I've told you, right, there are a few cases where the value of mu value can be more than 1. We don't discuss such cases. We don't actually discuss why that happens. Okay, we just discuss when that happens, like what to do. Like we only discuss the mathematical side of it. So he gives the coefficient of friction as 4 by 3, and he's asking, a car is sliding down, a car is sliding down, and the vehicle is going down at a speed. He gave the speed as 36 kilometers per hour. Okay, you can convert this into meter per second, and you can find the friction from this thing, mu mg cos theta, mu into mg cos theta. And he says with this friction, it only slides for 5 meters. It only slides for 5 meters before it comes to rest. That is what is asking us to do. So simply find the friction. From that, find the deceleration. V square minus U square equal to 2as. Okay, it is a simple question. I discussed the 15th question. Look at 16th question. He's asked. This is a similar question again. He gave the initial speed of the car. The car is here, and the speed is given, and the length of the slope is given. The angle is given. The friction coefficient is also given, so that no matter how hard the brakes are applied, the car will reach the bottom. That is what he's trying to ask. Like find the all the forces. Try to find all the forces acting on the car. Okay. Like what are the forces acting on the car? There is mg sin theta downward, mu mg cos theta upwards, right? So mg sin theta minus mu mg cos theta equals to mass into acceleration. From that acceleration, you again write v square minus u square equal to 2as. If you try that, you will get the answer s as this value, like 12.8 or more than that. If it is more than that, of course, it will have to slide all the way down. Okay. Is this clear, guys? Question number 17, 18. Yeah, someone has a doubt?
So why mu mg cos theta?
It is already sliding. It is already sliding. Okay, let me clear it further then. It is already sliding, so the friction is mu n. What is normal force in this case? Mg cos theta only, right? Normal force equal to mg cos theta. In the inclined surface, don't remember? Aniket,
Yes, sir.
you remember that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is why mu mg cos theta. Mu n, which is nothing, and in the place of n, I put mg cos theta. That's it.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Question number 17, 18 are easy. They are not much difficult ideas to discuss. Someone asked a question, another question. What was that? Two masses. Look at 19. Question number 19. Two masses M1 and M2. Okay, someone's asking about YouTube again. I'm sorry about that. Two masses M1 and M2 are connected by a light rod of a slipping down rough inclined surface. The friction coefficient between them values is the acceleration of the blocks and the force. All right. So he's asking in this case, saying situation like this. There are two blocks M1 and M2. Okay. Same thing. Mg sine theta friction. Let me draw it separately on the board. Two blocks connected, M1, M2. Let's just write the forces. m1g sine theta. If it is sliding already, it is mu m1g cos theta. And there is some tension or normal force also from the rod tension. M2g sine theta, mu m2g cos theta. Write all the forces. And the accelerations of the blocks, let us call them as A and A. Okay, so for this equation, this minus this and this, for this equation, this plus this minus this equal to mass into acceleration. You just write all the equations, you can find the acceleration, you can find the tension, and you can find whatever that you want from that problem. Aditya Kumar, you have a doubt? Speak up. You can unmute. Yeah,
Hello, sir.
yeah, speak up.
Sir, I want to ask that the mu value will be same for at every point on the plane, sir.
Yeah, it is same. Like, yeah, the mu value can actually change, but we don't consider problems that difficult, okay, where the mu value is changing along the plane or according to the situation. We just consider that the mu value is just constant throughout the surface. Like the kind of problems that we do, we only limit ourselves to this thing. If the mu value is also changing, the problems get really difficult to solve, okay? So we don't do that.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
even for static friction, this mu mg cos theta only will use.
No. For static friction, as long as it is static friction, it simply balances the opposing force. Like if it is mg sin theta, it must be mg sin theta. Mu mg cos theta is the maximum friction. Why did we take the maximum friction? Since that we considered it's already started sliding, we are considering mu mg cos theta.
Okay, sir.
The maximum value of static friction is mu mg cos theta. Yes, but static friction can be less than that also. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Right. That's good. Look at question number 20. Harshita, did you ask question number 20?
Yes, sir.
Right, look at this question. So a block of mass m is kept on a rough horizontal surface. The coefficient of static friction is given. Now, yeah, this is a very beautiful question, guys. It's a very simple question. Looks very simple, but you'll never get the answer. There is a block of mass m, value is mu. Find the minimum force so that the block can move. That is a question. That's it. Raghav, what is your answer?
Sir, it must be mu times n only.
Mu times n only. So mu mg, it must be mu mg only. As far as we know, the answer must be mu mg only, right? Because if you put mu force which is equal to mu mg is a maximum friction. If we go beyond that value, it will start sliding. So that must be answer. The question number 20, right? Let's just check the answer. Harshita, is that the answer? Look, answer for question number 20 is something different.
What's that, sir?
Yeah, why is that? It's a very simple question. It looks very silly, very simple. Question number 20, look at it. The block of mass m is on a rough horizontal surface. What is the minimum force that you need so that the block can move? That's it. The problem is the force that you are applying. He never said that you are applying horizontal force. If only in that problem he says, if what is the minimum force, what is the minimum horizontally so that the block is moved, so then this is definitely the answer. If the force is to be applied completely horizontally, then this is the answer for sure. But he never said the force applied is to be horizontal only. The force applied can be at an angle also. The force applied can be at an angle also. So I am going to consider some angle theta. This is f cos theta. This is f sin theta. And there is friction. We want the sliding case just to start sliding, right? So I consider friction equals to mu n only. Can somebody tell me the value of n here, please?
F sin theta.
No, there is mg also, right?
Oh, yes.
So n must be equal to mg minus f sin theta. Do you people agree?
Yes.
This is the point a lot of people miss, okay? The friction value is mu mg minus f sin theta. Now for the block to slide, this f cos theta must be equal to friction. So I'm going to write that f cos theta equals to friction. So friction goes like mu mg minus f sin theta. So f cos theta plus mu f sine theta equals to mu mg. F equals to mu mg by cos theta plus mu sine theta. Do you agree on this value? We found the force,
Yes, sir.
but the force is coming in terms of an angle theta. Who knows about the angle? Did I give you some angles for some specific angle? Raghav says this was a similar case in objective one. Okay, question number one. That's a good. That's a good analogy. Now you getting my point? Like we are getting the force in terms of theta, but we don't even know the theta also. But we want the force to be minimum. Do you remember the maximas and minimas in
Yes, sir.
differentiation?
Yes,
What
sir.
did we do? We simply have to differentiate the function with theta. So you just have to differentiate this whole thing with theta and equate it to 0. Now, are you going to do that to differentiate this? It is a difficult part. This whole thing is a constant. I'm going to differentiate. What's this? df by d theta equals to mu mg by cos theta plus mu sine theta. Just like kinematics, this is also a difficult part. Okay, Newton laws didn't feel this difficult, right? Newton laws involved only all good persons, all simple persons. But when it comes to friction, this gets a little difficult. So I'm going to differentiate that. This whole thing is a constant, so I'm going to leave that out. d by d theta 1 by cos theta plus mu sine theta. It is as if I'm differentiating d by dx of 1 by f of x. Remember that if you have this thing, differentiation of 1 by f of x, you don't remember, I do. I'll have to first write the differentiation of this thing as minus 1 by fx whole square and the differentiation of inside. So I will show you the differentiation. Cos theta plus mu sine theta whole square and the differentiation of this thing. Cos theta equals differentiation of cos theta is sine theta. Sorry, minus sine theta. Minus sine theta plus mu cos theta equals to 0. Since we are equating it to 0, we don't care about all these things. You just need to solve this part, right? These are all constant. They go that side, they become 0. So all I have to do is minus sine theta plus mu cos theta equals to 0. Mu equals to cos theta by sine theta. So what do you say? Mu equals to, wait
Sir,
a second.
isn't it sine theta by cos theta?
I think I messed it up somewhere. Did I? Wait a second, let me check. F cos theta, mu f sine theta only. Yeah, what were you saying? Oh, right. Okay, the mistake is here only. Thanks for asking. Sine theta by cos theta. So it is nothing but tan theta. So theta equals to tan inverse mu. At this specific angle, if only you apply the same force, this looks similar to the angle of repose, but this is not angle of repose. Okay, this is just a different case where you get the answer as similar to that. So you apply the force at an angle, theta equals to tan inverse mu. Theta equals to tan inverse mu. You will have to use a minimum force to move the block. Again, once you get the theta, you have to put it in the force formula. Where is the force? Oh, it is here. You have to take that theta equals to tan inverse mu and bring it all over here and put it in this thing. Shall we do that? Since we came this long, why don't we just do that also? Mu and g by sine theta. Wait a second. Cos theta plus mu sine theta, right? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Mu and g by cos theta plus mu sine theta. I'm going to put that on. Cos theta plus mu sine theta. But I have a tan theta equals to mu, right? Which means this is mu, this is 1. Tan theta equals to mu by 1. So this is root over mu square plus 1. So from this I can say cos theta equals to 1 by root over mu square plus 1 plus mu into sine theta equals to, oh yeah, sine theta equals to mu by root over mu square plus 1. This looks like a very long method, but I'm sorry, you have to do it. 1 plus mu square by root over 1 plus mu square. What do you get? You cancel this thing. Like you have x by root x. What do you get? Root x, right? So you have mu mg by root over 1 plus mu square. Now did we get the answer? Of course we did.
So we have to do all this.
Yeah, sometimes life is life is difficult sometimes, man. Check the
Sir, can
answer.
you
That one
show me
question.
that last step, sir?
Yeah. Just check the answer. Make sure you get the answer right. Mu mg by 1 by root over 1 plus mu square at an angle tan inverse mu. Okay. Yeah, check it. Like what do you want to check? I simply found the value of theta. I put it in terms of this. Like I use this idea of tan theta equals to mu by 1. So this is root over mu square plus 1 square, right? Like Pythagoras theorem. So from this, I found the value of cos theta and sin theta. I put it in. I did some calculation. Look at it. I took the LCM of these two things. It's the same value, root over 1 plus mu square only. So this is 1 plus mu square on the upside. So 1 plus mu square. I have x by root x kind of a thing. So x by root x is nothing but root x, right? So I left the upper part just like that. And I solved the lower bit. Yeah,
So
it
there's
is.
only one question right of this type.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can skip it, sir.
No, you cannot. Don't. Just at least remember the answer. This is an important idea. That is why I put this much of effort and discussed. I'm lazier than you, basically, Aniket. So if I'm putting some effort to discuss something, that is really important. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You can't imagine how lazy I am. I just find the laziest things. Who is that gave me thumbs up when I said I'm lazy? Pritika.
Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to. It just came up like that.
You agree that I'm lazy too? Of course I'm lazy.
No, sir. No.
No. I actually admit that I'm really lazy. Once I'm lazy, I try to find the easiest methods to find solve questions. I will discuss the question number 23 at the end. Okay, not now.
Laziness leads to innovation, sir.
Yeah. But if you're too lazy to innovate, also that is a very big problem, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
must be at least not lazy enough to invent something. Uh, Question number 24, the diagram that you're looking at, I won't discuss this thing. I think you can solve this question. App, do you want me to? I think it is easy. Like at least give it a try now. I'm sure you haven't reached up to this question. I'm pretty sure. Did you people reach there? No, you haven't. Pritika, did you?
Sir?
Did you reach up to this
No,
question
sir.
number 24? Of course you haven't. Question number 26 is a question that you don't need at this moment. Okay, like it is involving electric fields. So I don't like to discuss questions when the concepts are not taught yet. Okay, so just leave that out question. Look at question number 27. In this beautiful question, slips on a rough horizontal table. There is rough horizontal table and the coefficient of friction between the block and the table is mu. The table does not move on the floor. So it is not sliding. That is what he's saying. Find the frictional force applied by the floor on the legs of the table. Wait a second. Okay. This is not the question that he's talking about. I'm sorry about this. This is a different question. Question number 27 is different. Okay. The diagram that we have is for 28th. So I will discuss that also late after that. So block of mass M slips on a rough horizontal surface under the action of a horizontal force applied to it. The coefficient of friction between the block and the table is mu. The table does not move on the floor. Find the total frictional force applied by the floor on the legs. Oh, this is a beautiful question, guys. Watch this. So he says, there's a table. On the table, there is a block. And on the block, there is a force acting on it. And there is some mu in between the block and the table. Now, when it is being slided, when someone's dragging it, it is definitely moving. The block is definitely going forward. But the table is not moving. The table is at rest. Just consider the table as another block, that's all. You don't have to think in a different form. He is asking, what is the amount of friction here? Can you people tell me what is the amount of friction there? Pritika? Pritika, are you sleeping?
No, sir. I
No.
was speaking, but mute was.
Yeah. So can you tell me what's the friction there? There is some friction acting on here, right? in between these two. So the same amount of friction is acting also on this block also. So this force must be exactly balanced by this force so that this thing does not move. That's all. So just simply find this friction which is equal to mu mg. If this is mu mg, this is also mu mg. If this is mu mg, this is also mu mg, so that the bigger block does not move. That's all. You don't have to find the limiting friction for this value. You don't need the mu value also here. You don't need to find the F max here. Nobody is asking about F max here. What is the friction? The friction, because it is not sliding, the friction here is nothing but the force here. That's all. So I simply have to find this force, which is nothing but this force. I found it. Get that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that is that question. Look at 28 now. Question number 28 is a beautiful question again. The diagram is for question number 28 only. Find the acceleration of block M in the figure 6E10. The coefficient of friction between the bigger block and the smaller block is mu1, and the bigger block and the ground is. This is a good question. Now here it is mu1, he says, and here it is mu2. There is friction here and there is friction here also. How are you going to solve this question? Yeah. This is a situation, and there is friction in between these two is mu2 here, and in between these two is mu1. Okay. So all you have to write is write all the forces: mg, tension, and friction on the smaller block. Is there? No, there is a normal force horizontally, of course, because of the contact in between them. And on the bigger block, there is tension, there is mg, and there is normal force n2. Let's just call it as n1. And there is tension here and there is tension here also. And wait a second, I'll draw it separately for the bigger block. mg, normal force, friction, F2, N2, and there is tension acting here. Since there's a pulley here, the tension, two tensions are acting here, tension T, and there is normal force from the block. I've written all the kind of forces. Now all I have to do is write the equations. Yeah, this is a difficult question, but why don't I just leave it for you people? This is a difficult question to solve. I'll do one thing, like remind me about this question later. I will try to build this thing on the simulator, okay, for you people. I'll try to build this thing on the simulator, and it will be a lot more easier for you people that way. Okay, because the constraint relation here is a bit difficult to understand. That is why I will separately show it to you on the simulator tomorrow. Today is what? Friday, right? So I will show it to you tomorrow. All right. Now after that question, I have discussed the last questions already, the question number 30 and things like that. Now question number 31 is also an easy one, but I can assure you only once you try that, because this block and this block will have different accelerations. So try to solve the whole problem in the frame of reference of the smaller block, bigger block. So there will be pseudo force acting on it. So that case will be a different case. You'll try it later, okay? Yeah, these questions are a little difficult ones to try. So I'm gonna give you an advantage there. That yeah, I'm telling that those questions are a bit.
23rd.
Yeah, question number 23rd is the most beautiful question. Like since you already said that is a very easy question, like please tell me how did you approach?
I first did for the 2 kg one.
Okay.
So that was accelerating, other two were not accelerating.
No, this is a question that. Wait a second. So in this question, I am not going to completely discuss this question. This is a lengthy question. Okay. This is where I show my laziness. There is friction here. Well, let me check all the values. Let me get all the 2 kg, 3 kg, 7 kg, 0.2, 0.3. Good. 2 kg, 3 kg, 7 kg, mu equals to 0.2, mu equals to 0.3. All right. And he says in one case, he applies a force here. And in the next case, he applies the force here, and in the next case he applies the force here. You will have to consider all the cases separately and try them separately, right? So observe what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply the same force 10 newtons here. What I do is I will try to find the maximum frictions here. What is the maximum friction here? First of all, F equal to mu mg 0.2
4 newtons.
4 newtons, sir.
20, so it is 4 newtons. Thanks. I thought you people slept already because of all the big questions. No, you are still listening. Good. What is the maximum friction here? 0.3 into
15 newtons, sir.
5, 50. 0.3 into
2
50.
newtons.
0.3 into 50. 15 newtons, right?
15.
Yeah. So because of these frictions, we have to find the maximum accelerations that they can travel. I'll show you that. Wait a second. Since I put a force of 10 newtons, I will consider, but all the blocks are combinedly moving. Let us say all the blocks are combinedly moving. I'm just imagining that. Now, if all the blocks are combinedly moving, what is the acceleration? It must be 10 by 12. So it's around. Let's just imagine it is 10 by 12 only. So it's 5 by 6. Must be around 0.7 or 8. 8. Yeah, 0.86 or some 86 8. 0.83 or something like that. They have to go with this acceleration. Now, can this lower block first of all go with that acceleration or not? Like, who is supporting the lower block here? There is no external force. The only friction in between these two blocks is supporting the lower block. And how much is that friction? 15 newtons. So can it move with that accelerations? 15 equal to 7 into A, acceleration equal to 15 by 7. Of course, the maximum acceleration this block can go is actually 2 meters per second. Here, consider the case is that combinedly moving, the acceleration is much lesser than that. Of course, it can happily move with that acceleration. We'll have to check the same thing for the second block also, whether it can actually move with that acceleration or not. Okay, how are we going to do that? We are going to write the forces on the second block. The force is 4 newtons.
Sir, sorry, sir. Can you just repeat again? I was a bit confused.
Which part?
This part, sir, 5 by 6. How did it equate to 2 meter per second square? Like,
Did I say 2 meter? No, it is something around 2.1, something like that. This acceleration, I'm saying, if only you put, you're only putting force on this thing, right? Now, who is responsible for this block to move? For the lowermost block?
the 10 newtons.
No.
The friction between the
friction
newtons.
is responsible.
Friction.
Now, I'm just checking if this friction is 15 newtons, it can actually, if the maximum friction is acting 15 newtons, it can actually accelerate with 15 by mass is 7 at 2 point some meter per second square. Happily, it can go with that acceleration. That's what I'm saying. This can happily go with that acceleration. But here, if I consider all the blocks are combinedly moving, I'm considering the acceleration is a different value, like which is lesser than that. So it can the considered cases can be true. That's what I'm saying. The considered case can be true for now, but we still don't know because we have to check for the second block also, right? So I'm going to check for the second block. Let's just check for that. Okay, guys. I don't think I can discuss the whole problem like this because this is a very long method. I remember discussing this question for hours in a class. This is like an advanced level question because the choices I'm going to tell you, like there are 3 blocks, right? There are 3 blocks. In this situation, if I apply this force, this can move separately and these two can move combinedly. And there is another case where these two can move combinedly and this can move separately. When there is another case where all the 3 things separately move, and there is a case all the 3 things combinedly move. I have to check all the cases here. So that will be a very long method. Why don't I just keep it later for later, like when I can discuss it in person, not in a live class like this. I will just discuss this question in person, okay? But you get the point, like what is the kind of methods that we have to put in to find this answer. In the answers that H.C. Verma is given or in the solutions book, he doesn't actually consider all the cases. He behaves as if he already knows the case and he just solves the answer. So I don't actually suggest doing that. So I'm going to skip this question. Okay, I'll just discuss it in person when on a Sunday. Let's just say on a Sunday we'll just discuss it in person, not in a live class. This takes way too much of a time for us to discuss. Okay, so instead of that, we can actually go ahead and discuss a lot more questions. So I'm going to shift to. Shall we discuss the short answer questions?
Yes, sir. Objectives, sir.
Yes, sir.
Which question do
answers.
you want me to discuss in objectives?
So all are tough almost.
No, they're not tough. You didn't even try
They're
them
tricky, sir.
properly.
I tried.
Have anyone else tried the questions of objective 1 and 2? Guys? No one actually has tried those questions. How am I supposed to discuss these questions then? Please do one thing today. Like, please go ahead
I
and try
did
this.
short answers.
Yeah, please go ahead and try objective 1 and objective 2. There's no objective 2 at all.
There is, sir.
There is objective 1. So please go ahead and try these questions today. Okay, I'll just discuss them in person with you people separately. Okay, let's just go to the questions for short answers then. Right, look at this. I'm going to read the question number 1. People have to talk about it one by one. Like, let us look at the first question. For most of the surfaces used in daily life, the friction coefficient is less than 1. Is it always necessary that friction coefficient is less than 1?
No, sir.
No, we talked about it. It's not necessary. There are cases where the friction coefficient is more than 1 also. Why is it easier to push a heavy block from behind and press it on top and push? Yeah, we've talked about it. Pushing and pulling. Pritika?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is easy, right?
So pulling is easy.
Yes,
Sir, that friction coefficient greater than 1 we'll never learn.
No.
The reason?
In future, like maybe if you talk about material engineering or things like that in engineering, there are in branches where you completely learn about physics. Okay, so in those engineering branches, there is a chance that you might learn these things, but not in our +1 and +2. No.
Okay, sir.
Third question: what is the average friction force when a person has to walk 1 kilometer walk? What is the average friction? What does it mean?
Sir,
No, I don't understand what he means by
1 kilometer is
average.
a distance, right?
Yeah, 1 kilometer is a
Newton.
distance. I don't understand what he's talking about the average friction. Like maybe we'll have to consider some of the average values as like the distance traveled, the amount of force he's put, the amount of energy he burned when in walking a 1 kilometer distance and like things like that. I maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe he's asking us to discuss these kind of ideas. Let's just skip it. Okay, there's nothing that you can learn from that person. Why is it difficult to walk on solid ice? Yes.
because frictional coefficient is very low.
Both.
Because
Friction.
it is less.
So if the friction coefficient is low, so what happens?
So you'll slip, sir. You can't walk forward.
That is a point. Yeah, you can say that the friction coefficient is less, so we
So
can't.
the friction, there is less friction, so it cannot support our walking movement, sir.
Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah, but there is a better explanation to this thing in the topic of rotational dynamics. I will explain it later again in that topic also. Okay. Like the question that they get asked you, they ask you is like on ice when you're walking, you can't take bigger steps, right? Like you have to take very small steps.
So this question is there here also in
No,
objectives.
is it? But
Yes,
I
sir.
can't discuss it here because it needs to be discussed later in another topic. Okay.
Okay.
It is a very simple thing, guys. Like when you are walking on an ice with very smaller steps, the normal forces that you're maintaining on both the legs is almost equal. But when you're taking a longer step, the normal force that you're taking on one leg and the other leg completely get different. Like if the normal force taking on one leg is high and one leg is low, the friction on that second leg is very less. So there is a chance that you might slip. So that is a point that is needed to be considered. Like when you take smaller step, the normal force distribution between the legs is completely stable. So you get enough amount of friction on both the legs, so there won't be any slipping. That is the thing. All right. I will discuss it better in rotation dynamics. Don't worry. Can you accelerate a car on a frictionless horizontal surface by putting more petrol in the engine? This is a good question.
No, sir. You
No,
have to
No,
push
sir,
the
we
car from
can't
back.
do
Surface, the
that.
You can't.
wheels is
No,
just
no,
the
we
wheels will
cannot.
just run there. It'll never move forward. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Spring fitted doors close by themselves when released. You want to keep the door open for a long time, stay for an hour. If you put a half kg stone in front of the stone, it does not help. The stone slides. Okay, you get the point. The spring doors, if you put a half kg stone there, it won't help. Like it will just close. But if you put a small paper piece, that's what he says. Or however, if you sandwich a 20-gram piece of wood in between the door and the ground, it will stop. Why?
Sir, it's stopping the spring from closing. Like,
No. When you're putting a paper, a small kind of a wood or a paper, right, sandwiching between the door and the floor, what's happening is the door is trying to push it. So the door is actually giving a lot of normal force onto the wooden piece. That normal force is getting converted into friction, and that friction is helping. If you just put a raw block right in front of the door, the normal force is not good enough. It's a half kg block. The normal force is very little, and the friction it is offering is very little. But if you sandwich it, like if you put something in between between the door and the floor, the force that is getting from the door itself is getting converted into normal force, which is providing us the frictional value. That is the important idea. Get it?
Yes, sir.
Seventh question. A classroom demonstrates Newton's first law. The glass is covered with plastic card. Yeah, you remember this thing, right? Glass, plastic card, and they try to remove it suddenly.
Sir, this is the tablecloth trick also, sir. They will remove the tablecloth
Yeah,
without
when they push the
moving the
table block
utensil on
all
the
of a
table.
sudden, when they push the table block all of a sudden, everything just remains the same. The tablecloth comes out. But when you try that same thing by pulling that cloth very slow, it won't happen. Why?
Yes,
When
I
you're
wanted to ask.
pulling it suddenly, you're immediately converting the friction, the static friction, into kinetic friction, where the friction is a very lesser value. But when you're pulling it slowly, the static friction is there in every case. So it is the blocks are slowly moving in at every point. But when you're doing it sudden, all of a sudden, you're just not giving it enough time for the static friction. You're just converting it immediately into kinetic friction, so it slides off. Get that?
So there is no static friction in that case.
The static friction won't be there for long. Like you're immediately sliding off the cloth beneath that glass surface, so it won't even take much time to stay there. Yeah. Can a tug of war be won on a frictionless surface? Can it?
No, sir.
no,
The
Yes, sir,
sir.
we
friction
can.
is the force. In a tug of war case, you need some really good shoes that you have some good
We need
grip
a
on the
spike
ground.
shoe, sir.
Sir, we can, sir, if we push the person horizontally.
Yeah. Where do you want to push him?
Just somewhere, sir.
No. The shoe that you wear in a tug of war is a very important thing. Okay, like they are most of them they wear spikes, I guess, right?
They have spikes beneath
Yeah.
the shoes.
Why
also.
do tires have better grip on a road while going on a level than going on an inclined? Why? Like the tires have a very good grip when they're going on a horizontal surface, but when they're going on an inclined surface, the tires don't have enough good grip. Why?
So the gravitational constants also act upon the body also, sir.
No. The thing is,
Sir, because in an inclined surface, when we take the components of the friction and all, the friction is a bit less there.
When the ground is like this, the normal force is the whole weight of the block. When it is inclined, the normal force is not weight of the block, it is just mg cos theta only. So because of that mg cos theta, you're getting a little less of the force, so the grip won't be that good. All right. Good. Question number 10. You are standing with your bag in your hands on ice in the middle of a pond. The ice is so slippery that it can offer no friction. How can you come out of the ice?
Melt the ice, swim and come out.
By
So by
taking
taking small steps.
small steps.
No.
step.
Like
So
there
we
is
can
no
push
friction.
the
The
ice
ice
in the
is
pond.
completely slippery. You cannot walk. The ice is not just offering any friction. What is the best thing?
So we can swim in the pond, right?
No, we cannot. Like there is no pond. The ice is there. It's all just ice and it's completely slippery. In that case, how would you come out? That is the question there.
Before going to the ice, you have to wear some spike shoes.
No. There is one way to
Then
do
we can
it.
distribute our weight.
No, there is one way to do it. You can throw your bag. When you throw your bag in one direction, there will be recoil on you. You will be pushed onto the other direction. Do you agree?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
sir.
That
Yes,
is the
sir.
best way to do it. There is no other way. You have
Sir,
to.
this is very misguiding. In reality, if someone tries, they are stuck.
No. They don't stuck. They get stuck. They will slide a bit. In a case like when you're in a space, when you're in gravity-free space and just floating, to move in one direction, you will just have to push something in the other direction. Did you watch the movie of Gravity?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's a beautiful movie. If you haven't, I'm suggesting you to watch it on this Sunday. Okay, please go ahead and do it. It's an awesome movie. Okay, you will get a lot of doubts from that topic from that movie Gravity. Please keep a notebook right with you when you're watching that movie. Okay, please keep up a notebook with you so that we can discuss that all the doubts that you get later on a topic of gravity.
It
Okay?
was shot in real space.
No, it wasn't. No, who
Yes,
stopped?
sir. They
Arey
spent
come
more
on.
than $2 billion for the movie.
I know you know who the director is, Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, no, sir.
No. We know, like I completely read about it. They actually shot it in a space, not gravity-free space. There are places where you can shoot the whole thing. They're not gravity-free. Tom Cruise, in fact, is shooting the first movie ever, which is to be shot in space. That next movie of Tom Cruise, it's a space movie, and they are actually shooting it in space. This guy has no limits at all. Yeah, let's just go to the next question. 11th question. When two surfaces are polished, the friction coefficient between them decreases. Yeah, this is where the thing actually needs to be discussed. Like when you polish two surfaces way too much, the friction coefficient actually becomes more than 1. When you polish two surfaces way too much, look at the 11th question. So this is about the thing that is to be, you don't have to discuss this thing. It is about the adhesive forces. Like when you polish it too much, the forces between these two surfaces actually get more, and they actually attract each other more, and because of this the coefficient of friction gets actually more than 1. That is why people suggest other people not to suggest very much, not to polish a surface too much. Polish the surface to an extent only. Don't polish it way too much. Okay. So that
Sir,
is
I
it,
have
guys.
one doubt.
Yeah,
We
tell me.
polish swords, knives, and all, right?
To an extent only. Don't polish anything too much. Okay. Guys, I just got an idea. I just wanted
We
to ask.
don't polish, we sharpen knives and swords.
What?
Sir, he just said we polish swords and knives and all, but we sharpen them, right, sir?
Yeah, we actually kind of sharp them. I agree.
It's almost the same thing, sir.
You getting my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, I can see keyboards there.
I can see Bailey Eilish name.
Yeah.
No, it actually stopped. It actually
No
stopped.
time to die.
Oh, do you see No
Yeah.
Time to Die?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are seeing this.
I'm just
Eilish.
learning that. I'm just learning that piece right now. So
So you know how to play keyboard.
yeah, I do. I know how to play. Do you not see this?
Sir, I saw Instagram, sir.
Which thing? I never posted anything on Instagram.
Sir, that coffin dance, like it was in your birthday.
Yeah, that was my birthday post. Yeah. So
I just know how to play.
what?
I just know how to play games.
Oh, just try to learn how to learn how to play an instrument, man. It is really.
I know 2 instruments, sir.
Which
I
The
know
drums.
one, sir.
Keyboard and guitar.
Good.
Sir, I
only
know like
keyboard.
3, sir.
Who knows 3 instruments?
Sir, me, sir. Drums, keyboard, and flute.
Aditya,
Raghav.
Not me, sir.
Raghav, you can play flute also.
Yes, sir. Not that much. Like
That's really cool. That's
That's
really cool. Anyway, watch this. So there is this experiment. It is not related to physics at all, but there is this experiment in YouTube you can watch, where they actually put a balloon, a hot air balloon in a car, and they accelerate the car. And do you expect in which direction the balloon actually goes?
Backwards.
Yeah. So now you go
Backwards.
ahead and watch that video. It will surprise you, and you tell me the answer why it actually.
It will be like that only, sir, would it?
No.
So it will go forward.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually goes forward. You'll get surprised. Go watch it and give me the answer. That is the end of this class. I'm asking you to solve all the questions of objective 1 and objective 2 from friction and bring me some doubts. And tomorrow I will start a new topic, guys. Okay, the doubts will be parallelly discussed about friction, because the next exam that you're going to write on it will be about friction only. So you keep on asking me doubts on friction. Don't worry about that. But parallelly, I will start teaching circular motion. All right.
The only friction, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, only friction will be there.
Because every time they get extra questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I make sure that it won't happen this time. Okay. Most probably you will have around 80% of friction and 20% of Newton laws also.
Newton laws is okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
So I will make sure.
any taught topic is okay, sir, not new topic.
Yeah. So I'll just make sure this time it won't happen like that. All right.
Yes.
So I just try to go live at least tomorrow. So we'll just wait until then. Okay.
So
Thank
you
you
take
so much.
in-person classes also right now?
What?
You take in-person classes also right now?
What classes?
In person.
No. We don't. I mean, where do I go to take in-person classes? Yeah.
So you said on Sunday.
I mean,
Sir said offline without going on YouTube.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, guys, I'll just meet again tomorrow and we'll just talk about more ideas. All right. Thanks so much and bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.